Remind everyone that no recording is allowed prior to the meeting or at the end of the meeting, which is only during the public meeting. Thank you. Do we have any apologies for absence? No. Anyone, any declarations of interest in items on the agenda? No. Sorry? Allotments. No one else? Thank you. Item 3, to approve and confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 1st of July 2019. Everyone's had the copy of the with the slight revisions in. Can I have, is everyone happy with these minutes on the council? Can I have a show of hands to approve it? Second? Approved and seconded. Thank you. Simon? Item 4 on the agenda, to approve and confirm the minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on the 23rd of August 2019. Again, you, all the council, had copies of these minutes. Is everyone happy with it? Is everyone happy that I signed it?
Can we have a copy, please?
Can I have a show of hands, please, to show acceptance? Thank you. Item 5 on the agenda, to approve and confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd of September 2019. Again, all the councillors have had a copy of these. Is everyone happy with the content?
I would draw it to attention that I have had comments, if you wish to hear them, from a resident about 63A, no, sorry, minute 59 and 63F.
Does anyone wish to hear these, or do Parish Council just wish to approve the minutes as they stand?
It's a draft of amended minutes.
That's been put into the other one. It was the amendment in the 1st of July minutes. Dealt with.
So everyone happy with the minutes as they stand? Show of hands, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman, may I ask if the heating could be either turned off or turned down, or? Thank you.
Item 6, standing item, public questions. Do we have any public questions? Mr. Eldridge. questions?
Yeah. At the Parish Council meeting of the 2nd of September, we set up a tripod with camera phone 10 minutes before the start of the meeting. Nothing was said by either the clerk, chairman or any councillor present during the following 10 minutes to challenge our right to do so. At the start of the meeting, we were immediately challenged by Councillor Forster as to our right to video the meeting, stating he had not given his permission. We'd asked Councillor Forster to direct his comments to the chairman, which he ignored. We were then subject to further outbursts from Councillor Forster. The right to record legislation has been in place since 2014. Chairman Stephen Walton and the previous clerk made the same allegations against us in 2017. I'll repeat that. The Chairman Walton and previous clerk made the same allegations against us in 2017. As the PC reviewed and approved its own standing orders just 2 months previously in July, which included the right to film meetings, why did the councillors and clerk all have a bout of simultaneous amnesia?
Nothing to say on that at the moment, thank you.
Can the clerk confirm that she always brings a copy of the standing orders to the meeting? And she in fact had a copy in front of her at last month's meeting when she referred to it on another matter.
I can confirm that I have got a copy with me, and I did have a copy last time. Obviously, as they are new standing orders, we haven't got necessary photographic memories, and we will refer to them. You could have asked us to refer to them.
I did ask you to refer to them. You actually looked on your device and couldn't find them, yet later in the meeting you actually referred to them on a different matter.
Chairman, can I ask a question on this?
Well, they're still asking questions, Jim, then we can come back. Do you have any further
No.
questions? Jim?
This is videoing the council here. Is this a sound recording as well?
Yes.
I haven't given my permission to record my voice as a member of the public.
I'm afraid you have to address the chairman.
I'm addressing the chairman, but I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
As a member of the public, your attendance at the meeting means that you've given consent to be recorded. Because it is a public meeting, Jim.
I'm all for those sort of things, but I think a little bit of publicity around the village would help. Know that they're coming into these meetings and being recorded.
Thank you.
But the chairman did actually say at the beginning of the meeting that the meeting was to be recorded.
I asked specifically about sound.
Right.
Do we have any further questions, public questions? Thank you. In that case, item 7, review in the list of ongoing matters. You've all got a copy of these?
Just a couple of little updates on that. We have got Councillor Thorne here, so I'll ask him to address his in a minute. Just quickly before that, the bus shelters, I've got 3 names now. I've spoken to them, and they're going to look at the documents I've sent them and provide me with some quotes, so that should be ready to look at the next meeting. Ideally, I'd like to get a contract working group meeting in before our next meeting so that we can quickly review the quotes when they come in.
Yep.
I've had an update on the condition of the wall on South View. So it's number 13. So that's a little small retaining wall below where the cars are parked. The northern area structures inspector isn't sure who's responsible for the wall will be, but he's going to attend and have a look at it
Does it give a time frame for that?
as soon as possible.
Okay.
And everything else, I'm just chasing or waiting responses as per the
the list.
the list. Bus timetables I'm going to chase up again, number 10, because when I was catching the bus the other day, I don't think that the bus timetable matched up with the Arriva app, so one or the other was incorrect. So I'm going to follow that one.
Japanese knotweed treatment.
Yeah.
Treatment has taken place that does not appear to be successful. NCC will complete one more treatment and then will need to charge for further treatments.
Yeah.
I believe they have not sprayed some of the growths,
Okay.
and we should complain about their efficiency.
Do you know, is it a certain area that haven't sprayed, Lindsay, or just
Some of the pieces growing by the bungalow at the corner of the wreck,
that corner?
the
By the stand.
By the, yeah, the point, yeah.
The rigs, sorry, yeah, thank you. So we will follow that one, thank you.
Thank you. Just, well, it's this thing.
Right, item 8. Report by,
Just go back
sorry, yes,
to
sorry.
that one.
Yeah.
Following on from Mr Alfie just completed by County Council, so many of our things are awaiting response or in
And
progress.
those are usually because the way,
And it seems that some things have been going on.
some things seem to come back, I think it depends on the department, because a lot from you now report via the online reporting system, and I get a response, like an instant response, and then the department gets in touch, and some departments seem to come back really quickly. For
Yes.
example, the one with South View with the wall, I got an email back really very quickly from him, and then someone's, I guess, the pothole, for example, you know, it'll be, we'll get as good as mine, we'll get a response, I guess, because a lot, it might depend on volume of reports. I am chasing, I do chase them once I've got a report in, so.
Agreed.
Thank you for that, Marion. Under item 8, report by County Councillor Trevor. please.
Yes, Chairman. First of all, the parking on Riverside. As most of the Parish Council are aware, we did have a scheme that was costed and funded, but what I didn't realise was that very little consultation had taken place with the residents in Riverside themselves. You know, when I did speak to them, they were very much against the Grasscrete scheme. So I have now organised a site meeting. At the site meeting, the officers from Highways are coming along, the executive member, Glenn Sanderson. I've also invited the residents of Riverside along, and it would be useful if the Parish Council could come along. We've arranged a meeting for the 21st of October, Monday the 21st, at 9 o'clock. And really that's to get the views of the residents of Riverside and obviously comments from yourself, and hopefully take the matter forward to improve parking on Riverside. It is a, you know, it is a congested area sometimes. One of the problems is that people visiting, mainly the Running Fox, do tend to park on both sides of the road, leaving a very narrow channel for the cars to get through. It is dangerous, and we are trying to find a way forward on this.
Thank you, Trevor. I mean, as many parish councillors as possible can attend on the 21st,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Thank you for arranging that.
Are you just meeting there?
Yes, we're meeting there on
Is
Riverside.
the secondary parking restricts the road? Is it a matter for highways that the road is, the available road is too small?
Did you hear that, Trevor?
Yes, yes I do. I think it is. The fact that, you know, parking is taking place on both sides of the road, it just leaves a very narrow road for cars to travel both ways. And, you know, there have been accidents recently, collisions. the new bollards at the bottom of the recently repaired bridge, one of those has been knocked down. So, it's looking at the situation, trying to find a solution whereby everybody is content and, it's a safe road for traffic to move both ways.
I think that's why the grasscrete was mentioned or suggested, because it allowed parking on both sides of the road, but took it as far off the road as possible, leaving the gap for cars as large as
And I mean,
possible.
quite honestly, Mr Chairman, now it's an eyesore.
The condition of
The
the
condition of it, yes.
I mean, the point of this council, I thought referred to the visitors possibly running Fox parking on both sides of the road. I think on the northern side of the road is mainly residents parking.
Yes.
It is.
It's not visitors too.
It's not as many visitors on that side as
The visitors are mainly on the opposite side.
But the residents do complain to me that sometimes there are so many cars on there that they go out, do the shopping, and then they can't park in front of the house when they come back.
Well, it happens on
That
Main
happens
Street.
everywhere on Main
Yeah.
Street.
So that is,
They're not unique in the village in that
No, they're
respect.
not, but
And if the parking is restricted along Riverside, it just transfers the problem elsewhere and creates a bigger problem for other residents in the village.
But what we've got to do here is we've got to make it safe. We've not got to create a tiny little channel where, cars find it difficult to come through.
Well, I'm thinking fire engines, ambulances.
Yeah. So, it's an open meeting on the 21st for everybody to have their say, and hopefully we can move the matter forward and try and find a solution.
Okay, thank you, Trevor, I really appreciate you getting that one.
Secondly, the area at the north entrance to the village off the A1, where that was the subject of the bus, going on fire, and we've ended up with an unofficial lay-by there. As you're aware, the county council have agreed to restore that area, do away with the lay-by, grass it up, and hopefully the lay-by will be removed. It's an unnecessary lay-by at the entrance to the village. It is again an eyesore, and the county council, along with me, are trying to make it a more environmentally friendly entrance to the village. It is in the current programme of works. I do ask at every local area meeting how we're getting on, and I'm told it's in the programme. So, I am on the case, and the funding is there to do it. They've got a programme, and hopefully we're moving forward on that, but I haven't got a date yet.
Okay.
The third item is the congestion down at South View and the Oval. I've been there, seen the problem, and I think, what we need to do as a council is provide a more organised form of parking on that housing estate. Obviously, that's not something that I can fund out of my small schemes money, but it is a project that would cost more money, but it's something, in this day and age when people have more cars outside the property, it's getting very congested, very messy, and my wish and aim would be that we have a system of more organised parking at Southview and the Oval. So, we are looking at that. I'm trying to get our highways engineers to come up with a scheme which we'll put before the council and hopefully get funding for.
Do you know when that will be?
Well, I can't put a date on it, but I am getting the officers by the collar, and I promise we'll have a worked up scheme shortly, and we'll cost it, and we'll take it forward so that it's in the local transport plan.
You know, when you don't come to the meetings, do you think you could still keep work updated?
Yes, indeed.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I'm here today.
With any other
Well, there's nothing else. Have the members of the parish council got anything they want to ask me?
What are we 20 miles an hour down Main Street?
Yeah, the local transport plan, I think that there's been some sort of hiccup in that we haven't got the request.
But I have spoken to Richard Mackenzie, would it be?
Yeah.
About the local transport plan, because I haven't got, normally we get a letter saying put in your requests. It's obviously due, it was due the end of last week, so he said as long as we put our request forward, what we'll do is we'll put on, I would suggest we put on the organised parking scheme just to back Trevor up that we are requesting that as part of the local transport plan.
Fine.
And then
One of the other areas which I think safety on Main Street is an issue, and looking at putting in the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit down Main Street, because it is becoming more and more dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. Take that forward as well.
Thank you.
I mean, the council is happy for me to put that forward as something that we'd like to be looked at as part of the. Okay.
Could I ask a question on that? If we can't enforce a 30-mile-an-hour limit, how would we enforce a 20-mile-an-hour limit?
I think
It's for the police to do that.
but I think when I've seen arguments about it before, it's that it just, because people may still be speeding, but the speeds are all reduced so that even the speeding cars are going
And slower.
So
I think that's
Right.
the
it does
sort
have a
of
benefit.
Right.
thinking behind it. Whether that's correct or not, I'm not sure.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Councillor Thorne?
The only thing is, he's promising to do things. I hope his promises are better than what the ones for the lodge some years ago.
Yes. Well, you know, I can try, but I can't always succeed. And you know, I did succeed with the bridge.
But you promised about the lodge at a public meeting.
Well, and I've tried. I bring it up regularly, Councillor Hood. It's not that I'm not active or don't want to see it carried forward. You know, one of the first things I did when we got a new director of planning, I said, we've got a thorn in our side here, and, you know, this is something that I would like you to look at. And I know Rob Murphin, you know, he just lives over the bridge there in West Thurston. He has had a look at it, and, you know, he is taking that matter forward.
Thank you. Anything else? No. Do you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, Trevor?
I'll stay for a little while.
Okay, thank you. Next is parish representations at meetings. There was a cemetery meeting held on Thursday the 26th of September. Essentially, it just showed that everything on the cemetery was running very, very smoothly. No issues arising at the moment. And the main purpose of the meeting was to finalise arrangements for the Remembrance Sunday service, which has all been done. I don't think there's much else to say on that, was there? No. So that was that one. And the only other one that I'm aware of was there was a Town and Parish Council conference held on the 3rd of October. Councillor Hood and myself attended. This was at County Hall. It's a very useful environment in that you have a marketplace opportunity to speak to organisers of different parts of the County Council first, and then the actual conference. I think from our point of view, we got some very useful benefit from cemetery training information, didn't we, Tony? So that was useful. The actual conference itself, unfortunately, the leader of council, Peter Jackson, wasn't able to make it. He was called away at short notice, but we did get a review of local services update by Glenn Sanderson, who is the cabinet member for local services, and he was assisted by Paul Jones, who's the director of local services and housing delivery. I'm just trying to think what we covered. They were talking about things like the new salt bonds that they put in place, the 5 new gritters that they've got an extra 7.7 million in funding for highway maintenance. They were talking about various flood and coastal erosion protection schemes. They commented that the street lighting LED project was nearing completion and we had to let them know if there were any issues anywhere. On verge maintenance that we're trying to do all displays, was it twice a year, Tony? We're talking about doing that? Yeah. We were also talking about energy from waste and how some of them have been to the Teesside plant, or as material goes down to the Teesside plant, and that brings back £1 million back to our council a year at the present time.
Because of the energy it creates.
Because of the energy they're creating, so that is positive. They're also looking to introduce, although the timescale wasn't given for this, curbside glass collections for residents. I think we're still looking at the logistics of that, working out how to do it. We talked about the Green Dog Walking Scheme that now has more than 3,000 members and it's going well. They're doing an anti-littering campaign in October. So that's really, I think, the key things that Glenn went through. The next part was using planning for positive outcomes, and this was Rob Murphy, who gave it a very brief overview. One of the things he highlighted was that he's going to run training parish councils in groups, take approximately 2 hours, and there'll be groups of 4 or 5 parish councils together.
May I interrupt? Just on that point, I have spoken to our local parish councils and I've had a positive response from Newton and Swarland, who said that they would be interested in attending training with us and I'm waiting to hear from the others.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's in the way.
So that is good. Talked about highway safety audits and the impact on road safety. Discussed enforcement. We also talked about retrospective planning and stressed how it cannot be treated more harshly than normal planning applications, because people often think that it should be, but it cannot be. We also discussed pre-application advice. Neighbourhood plans, again, stressed they were fully supported by the County Council and gave some of the benefits of doing them. I think they were, again, were the main things with it.
I think so.
Yeah. And then, so, I was going to say, and then the concluding marks were from Alex Wallace, who is the chair of the Northumberland Association of Local Councils. So it was a very useful late afternoon to go to again.
They were looking at food waste collections.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And they're looking at possibly an anaerobic digester. But this is the sort of thing. And it wasn't until after the meeting that concluded that I realised there is an anaerobic digester at Cobham. Cobham Park. The old University Farm. I don't know if it's still there or not. But certainly I know it was built some years ago.
Maybe out of date, Tony.
I wouldn't have thought so.
I think that was up with any other representations of meetings anywhere? No? Okay, thank you. Item 9, standing item, update from PCSO Simpson, please.
Yeah, so I had contact with PCSO Simpson. He said there hasn't really been very many reportable incidents in Felton. There's been a few parking issues reported. They did look into the fire along at the Riles, whatever their investigation department would be, but there wasn't anything conclusive to take that investigation any further forward. So I think they decided that there wasn't sufficient evidence or anything needed to investigate. So it's not really even a reportable incident. They just unfortunately aren't able to identify the cause. So that was it.
That was it? Okay. At least we got some feedback and had some
Yeah,
for a couple of months, so that is positive. Item 10, neighbourhood plan.
That has not been progressed since last time, so we need to make sure that they are, we're obviously going to I guess, later on in our policies about removing the restriction.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll be able to make some progress on that.
There's nothing else to report on this point. Planning. So that the application for the Acton caravan site removal of condition 8 has been refused.
The letter's quite bland, so I mean, I don't know whether it's going to be resubmitted.
Very the application for 12 Riverside to remove the casement windows and replace with double sash glazed wooden windows has been approved. That's quite good. And there are still 2 applications pending. That was to remove the phone box near the north end of Main Street. I think we all put down comments on that, saying it shouldn't be removed for health and safety point of view. The second one was Buckenfield Aerodrome removal of condition 2, which was the every hours restriction. That's awaiting its outcome.
And we had follow up just on that point. There was a confusion about the actual hours that would apply after the removal. There was suggestion that the removal of hours would therefore lead to 24-hour 7 days a week flying. County Council should now be writing to everybody. I've received a letter as a resident, and I think we've received one as Parish Council to say it is 7 till 11 flying. So that ambiguity in that has been removed. I mean, obviously, still it's it is an extension of hours because it's till 7 to 11, but it's not the 24 hours that had been suspected.
It's 7 days a week.
I think so. I'd have to look at the application.
The
Whatever it is,
application was for 7 days a week, but I couldn't remember the rest.
I think there was an ambiguity. It wasn't clear in there that they were asking for it to be 7 till 11. They've confirmed that to County Council, who've written to or should be writing to everybody again. So if you've got a letter, you should be getting a second letter telling you that that's ours.
Other planning matters, bridge.
I haven't had any further update really from Glenn. Obviously everything seems to be going along. I know he was going to get back in touch with me again when there was more to report. So.
Can I just say,
Yes.
just to chip in there, I have had some photographs of the repaired railings and the repaired bullions, or whatever they're called, the stands, and they're very impressive.
He put some in the bridge, I think.
We've made the front page of the bridge,
Yeah.
and they do look absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
The work that
So that when we get, the whole bridge fully restored, we'll have a very smart structure indeed. We will.
it's really good.
They're doing an excellent job.
Was there anything else on the bridge? I don't think there was.
Just people were asking what we were doing on the,
On the tarmac side.
yes, on the,
On the roadway.
yes.
I think that's what.
Can I just chip in again?
Yeah, of course,
So,
you certainly please.
Obviously I was asking the engineers why they were digging the trenches in the road, and they were looking at the strength of the steel within the road. Obviously they've examined that now, I don't know what's come out, but those trenches have been put back. But yes, they were looking at the ironwork within the bridge.
And that's what ties in with what that last time Glenn had told me. He said that they would do those investigation works at the same time as having the things in place.
So that's what they've been doing.
But we haven't had an outcome for that yet.
But there seemed to be sandblasting, doing something for those specialists, weren't there? How did you go with those?
I don't know if that was just when they were cutting in.
No, the roads are cut.
Maybe it's just maybe stress testing or something.
No, it was, you see all those vehicles there?
Sorry?
The vehicles that were doing the specialist work, so, blasters or something.
Well, as far as I was led to be, they weren't blasters, they were just looking at the steel rods within the bridge, testing, looking at the strength of them, seeing that, they weren't eroded.
Thank you. Second item on here is the lodge.
No, nothing from there.
No update. Item 12, Bellway development. So much to say about that.
I think we need a meeting with them.
Yes. we do.
Well, we can,
We need to do, we had it in our diaries to reschedule one now that they've finished the, harmony, thank you for this.
Because that meeting we can do a site
Yeah,
walk.
so that's just to organise, I'll get that organised.
Mr Chair, may I ask, Belmere, obviously they finished the road in the estate, when is Highways gonna do the chicane?
I don't know.
It should be soon, because they said that that would be the next, that would be one.
Actually, I think Bellamy, from what I've heard through the grapevine, are going to get their subcontractor to do it for them.
The public road?
Yeah.
And will it be in the same position or, because we had
It's
a
gonna be
discussion
moved
before
Further
about
along.
perhaps having a double chicane?
They won't do the double one, I think that comes from
What
high.
do they call
I
it?
think that was, Mark told us that highways had, it was to do with some, it was a safety requirement, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It
we
was
couldn't have two that close together, but.
It was something, it was definitely a highways decision about about something to do with safety regulations, but then they couldn't have the two. And they would therefore move it beyond the Bellway
Can I
development.
ask in that respect then? After they've installed that, are they going to monitor the speed monitor? Because we already know this strip is a rat road. Can you, if you're going to move it further up, it's going to be a bigger distance.
We'll have to request the tapes on the road, do a speed survey.
As soon as it's put
Because
in.
if you remember, it's a few years, it was when Lisa was here, they did a speed check.
Yes, it did.
And there was cars coming through there at 69 an hour plus down into the village.
It's probably worth doing, asking them when you do the new chicane, would you do a speed at that point in time? Would everyone be happy with this request?
I'll find it.
Trevor will
as well.
help us with that as well, thank you.
and the chicane might help when the bypass is closed and things come through the village. It might be a slowing down, you know, how it,
But I don't, but we already have the chicane there slowing down as a
It's
quick.
not really a chicane, Stephen, it's a
Yeah,
pitch point.
pinch point.
Pinch point, that's the word.
It would be good that,
let's see what happens.
so we need to get that meeting with Bellway arranged, I'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Was there anything else on the Bellway development?
Just with partners that we need to sort that area out to the north of their access road.
The damp patch, I
Yes.
noticed that it's got fencing around it.
I did wait for the last fortnight, they got back this afternoon, have they, railways sorted out the grass where they dug out the trenches for the light standards, cabling?
That's all to be done yet, that's all to be done yet.
And near the trough with Felton on there, where there were still quite large stones.
Which that's all part of it should be.
I'll
And
go
all
on
that
that
road,
road,
yes,
yes.
And with the result that the grass cut, I can't put the grass
I'll go
properly.
along, get some photos and then we've got a, like a point to measure it from, haven't we?
And can you remember what I brought up a couple of meetings ago?
I can say it again.
About the wood perimeter fence for Bellamy that was through in the field. And some pallets.
I did report that, but I'll chase that up. Yes, passed
I
on.
thought they had been cleared, or something said they-
No, it's still standing.
Still there.
You've got to have good hearing coming to me.
Is there anything else on Bellway? Item 13, environment. I don't think there's been any issue with the sewage outfall. I haven't actually seen the guys working there for a little while either. So, I
I mean,
presume-
the hatch is still, I've taken, the vault is still proud, I've taken another photo and sent it in.
Can we chase that one,
Yeah.
please?
Because it's certainly on the roads, it is ironwork, that's above the road surface, there's a note that tells you about it.
Yeah, and it sits wonky, and the bolt sticks out quite a way, and I took a photo last time I walked past him, so.
Property terrain risk assessment. Same things reported present. Condition of properties, bush shelter repairs.
As I've reported, I've spoken to companies now, so next meeting we should be in a position to get that appointed and done. I've asked Stuart Arkle, Kevin Harding and Ivan Laidler.
So, are you not going for a new one?
No, I think we're going to price that separately, we won't just so that we've got a copy
Well, no, but when you need to get that.
at the same time, yeah.
Same time, so we
So
can
we
do
can all
that
decide it, you
comparison.
can see all of the quotes and the,
Yes. Bush shelter at Lamington Lane, well, there's nothing else to report.
we just needed to do an assessment of it, so I need somebody to come with me to do that really.
It's worse than it was.
Let me know. Yeah. I'll go with you.
The notice boards you had to look at.
Yes, I've had a quick look at the notice boards because obviously not looking at the best, the one on Main Street outside the Pant house probably just needs to be rubbed down, restained and revarnished, and so we need to put out a contract. I'll get somebody to do that. The one outside of Hill Rise, again, that needs to be rubbed down, restained, revarnished. But in addition to that, there's water ingress back corner, so it needs to be sealed properly as well.
I was going to ask John Hodkinson for a quote for that, because he did a good job with the cemetery railings.
Okay.
Maybe to ask if it's the sort of thing he would have a look at for us and see, and then as a starting point we've got his figure and we can decide if we need additional quotes.
Does that make sense for everybody? Thank you. Seats and benches?
I think that should come off now, but it was just on
Yeah,
there.
that was just to remind us until we're treated at the time. Item 14, correspondence not addressed elsewhere on the agenda. This item under the appendix. You can see.
The complaint regarding an FOI request, I've responded to the ICO with the information that they've asked for, so I'm just awaiting to hearing if you need anything else from me. Friends of the Earth Climate Action, this was asking the Parish Council really to consider taking steps towards climate,
Helping the environment.
well, in terms of almost like the climate action and emergency stuff that's been going on recently, so it was more about becoming a greener parish council and the support that would be available from Friends of the Earth if we chose to go down that route. I think it might be quite interesting to send round and see something for discussion at some point with it.
Yeah, just send it, circulate it to everyone so we can all read it. I
Yeah.
think is the best.
Let's get that forward. There was an email about the current published standing orders and the incident at the start of last meeting, which has already been referred to. I am in the process of updating all of the drafts on the website. It's just a slow process with formatting, but that should be done by the next meeting. There were some comments in the email about various particular standing orders. If any of you would like to see those, I don't know whether there's particularly anything that the council wishes to respond to, so perhaps I could send that round as well.
If you circulate it, then we can all check. Please.
Yeah, this is the mental health, the cafe, the mental health cafe that's been in the Gallery 45. He's been running it on a monthly basis. It's a drop-in. He was just pushing that. He's got 3 months left of the programme that he's running. I'll put a notice up have clarified with the village hall. We have obviously got a notice board space out there, and they said as long as things relate to the village, they would be happy for us to, you know, use my discretion about what to put up there, as long as it's not related to the community. So I can put any posters like that, or you know, the Wildlife Trust ones and things on there, so that's useful. The access on recreation lane, that was the email from the resident just asking for an update. We've sent a letter since.
Yes. Letters gone from the solicitor.
F, the freedom of information request, I'm busy reviewing that at the moment, and I'll let the council know what the response is and ask for comments. And then the one regarding 22 Davison Avenue, this was a person interested in becoming a tenant in 22 Davison Avenue. It was quite a lengthy email. It's been sent to various persons, including I think Trevor Thorne had a copy, and Anne-Marie. I've also spoken to the gentleman on the phone. You know, I advised that really the Parish Council had very little to do with, in fact nothing to do with the any decisions about occupation of that tenancy, and that he would need to be on the register with the County Council, but that we were pushing for it to be completed, because I think that was another point.
And there's no other correspondence? Thank you. Finance. The finances.
So payments since the last meeting, approval of the financial summary. So you've all had the financial summary sent through.
Is everyone happy to approve it? Yeah, show of hands please. Thank you.
Receipts, nothing, you know, particularly unexpected. The precept, the second portion of the precept has come through, and we've had cemetery fees coming into that, the cemetery account. Yep. Payments from since the last meeting. They're all as were set out at the previous meeting. The only additional one has been a Viking stationery invoice, which was overdue. So having spoken to, having sent an email to Stephen and Tony, that's been paid. So that was the last item on that payment since the last meeting. Payments for approval as set out. The only thing to comment on is the payment to Alan Coppert to reimburse the website costs for the neighbourhood plan. He's confirmed that he will sign everything and give me still access to that.
Okay.
Or hand over control of that.
Does anybody have any questions at all? So everyone's happy with, is everyone happy to approve the payments? Show of hands please. Thank you. We should get them on the website as quick as possible.
And just an update on the external audit, we've had the interim certificate. So they've done the same as last year. They've issued us what they're calling they describe as an interim certificate. Basically, it just says that it's not officially certified. They haven't certified the audit yet, due to challenge correspondence received, and we will hear from them further in due course when they're ready to take that forward. It seems this year last year we paid the invoice, they sent the invoice and we paid it straight away last year. Having read their covering letter, it appears that audit fee isn't payable until the matter's concluded. I think I'll check that with the next time I speak to them. So I've got that sitting there and we'll just wait.
And if they're going to invoice you for the challenge.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like it's payable until conclusion.
If you pay it in advance.
Well, then exactly.
They can't charge you.
I think they can, it says so, but they can.
Item 16, review policies.
I haven't printed out the whole tenancy agreement again, because we're unchanging a slight variation. we're saying it will now be you responsible, and then the addition is for taking all reasonable steps to ensure. So it's just the addition of the fact that it's taking reasonable steps to ensure that there's no damage or injury on the allotment garden.
Are all of the councillors happy with that amendment?
Yeah.
Show of hands, please. Thank you.
So what I'll do on terms of that, I will just write to the tenants to notify them of that change, which I think most people will be happy with anyway. And then when we do the next review, I'll put it into the agreement so that it'll go out from now on.
The review and approval of the use of persistent or vexatious complaints policy. You've all had a copy of this now. If you have to say anything, to say.
I think it's your,
I just got back from 2 weeks away I got back from London this afternoon, and I've been scrambling, and my mind is scrambled pretty much.
I mean, it was the one that we looked at, we sent round after the working group meeting. And to be honest, it's on the lines of county council and all of the, parish council ones that we've seen. They're very similar, so I think.
Is everybody happy? I mean, everyone's had a copy, is everyone happy with these? In which case, would you be happy to approve them for the 6 months?
Approve for 6 months?
Yeah, so we can, is everyone happy? Yeah, everyone? Thank you. Thank you for that. Working group policy.
So what we said was that we were going to suspend standing order 8A. It says that we can't reverse any resolutions. We don't think we were particularly reversing a resolution because we're just simply clarifying the working group's policy in relation to neighbourhood steering group, but we would do so to avoid any doubt that that needed to be done. So we're going to first of all resolve, as long as everybody's happy, to suspend standing order 8 insofar as it applies to the previous resolution to adopt the working group's policy to allow us to then clarify the minimum of numbers of councillors on the doesn't apply to the neighbourhood steering group, and then make that resolution. So it's 2 resolutions.
Yes.
The first resolution is to suspend standing order 8 as set out there insofar as it applies to the previous resolution to adopt the working group's policy.
Is everyone happy that we resolve to suspend that standing order 8A?
Yes.
Yeah. Show of hands again, please. Thank you.
And then secondly, to resolve that the minimum number of councillors on working groups does not apply to the neighbourhood plan steering group, so that they will remove that requirement to have 3 councillors on that in order to allow them to progress. Yeah.
Is everyone in agreement with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have any urgent items?
Yes. I received an email about what on the face of it was a dangerous situation where it was suggested that gas cylinders were being stored in the rec field football storage container. This seemed pretty potentially dangerous, so I have sent emails to John Stewart about it. The email that came to me was requested anonymity from the sender, but they did include a photograph, and that the content of the email could be copied. The whole thing, as written, is quite serious, so I have copied A, the photograph, and B, redacted email for anybody to see. my email to John Stewart, as he is the operator of the, he was responsible for it, was Felton Juniors. Asserted that LPG gas containers are being stored and used in the retrieval storage container. If this is the case, please check on the regulations for storage. I think you will find that this is not acceptable. This needs sorting urgently. And also, if food is being prepared and cooked for sale in the container, I trust that all appropriate hygiene regs, etc. are complied with. Also, apparently, all this has been brought to the attention of the County Health and Safety Officer. Now, the question of storing LPG gas cylinders in the enclosed container should not be done. However, John Stewart has replied. Full gas cylinders removed after use and not stored in the container. And in terms of food matters, he is referred to website food.gov.uk, safety hygiene providing food at community and charity events, which again, because of the seriousness of the assertions, I have copied off, and largely John Stewart is complying with essential hygiene. I put that for the record. I think we ought to make the original email. I will look at the email in detail for the agenda for the next meeting, because and we take it item by item and deal with it.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Do we have any other urgent items?
I don't know, it's quite urgent, I think we've probably talked about this before. I had a resident in Coquet Vale asking if at the entrance that can be a clear sign on the road. They fear that if an ambulance has to go along or fire engine, they won't can get people parking on the street block it. I don't know if that's feasible.
I think I actually saw something about it in the files this afternoon by pure chance, where it's referring to the previous time this has been, it was an email from Lisa responding to a similar request saying that the County Council had seemingly stopped putting new drop curbs in and were reluctant to put H-bars in because it was difficult to enforce them. Whether that's still the case, and it might be worth
I mean, it isn't that there's a drop curb, but it's
No, it's actually
in terms of access, but
yes.
obviously highway regulations require you to park, you need clearance, but they weren't putting, that was the response from Lisa at the time, and that was only, just before I came
Because
on.
we also had the same issue we asked about correctly. I don't know, Councillor Thorne, could you cast anything on this?
The problem is, this was instigated at the entrance above.
Yes.
And this is where this is going through.
That's where the problem was, because that was put in for so that a carer could get
Carers
there.
could get in.
And as I understood that when that requirement was no longer needed, the sign was supposed to be removed.
It hasn't been.
It's never been removed.
Where's that one?
One opposite.
Entrance to the rigs.
So higher up, so that's still got a, no.
It still has.
Well, maybe we can ask our highway engineers to have a look at this and see if there's anything else they can do to stop parking there,
I
because
imagine the visibility coming out of that, it's such a narrow entrance anyway.
And
Because the buildings come right up to the edge of it as well.
They do.
Can I
Would
just
it be
say that
possible-
any access off Main Street for any residents, that there should be H-bars over it. Because people do just park, they don't block off.
Yes, I mean, it's Coquet Vale, the rigs, and then
Yes, the same as, the
Sanders,
same as
briefly, they have problems.
Recreation Lane, that should have an H-bar too.
Yes.
Would it be worth, Trevor, when we have the meeting on the 21st,
we can bring that up.
to bring that up, because we're so close to it, so to try and tie it in, because the relevant people would be there.
Can I also say, if I intend to word with Trevor exactly about our entrance? And they did 2 years ago put some white lines across the pavement, so keep it clear, and normally the people obey that. But they go further than those things and still block the entrance. People will park anywhere where they're thinking of a car. So that the white lines at our entrance needs extending. It's not a private entrance, it's the public road they're parking on and blocking it.
I'll say we'll look at various options when
So
we have
we'll take that.
if you could have a look at that one as well, Trevor. And quite often we come out and we can't get out.
Also, I think it was mentioned that the little wooden no parking sign beside the war memorial has been damaged.
I saw that happen, yeah.
Um,
So we should try to get that done before the.
Yeah, it's Peter.
There's also holes in the pavement. One at the corner of Westview, adjacent to the letterbox. And one outside the pub yard.
That one outside the pump yard's been repaired before, and it just keeps
Is that the
sinking.
one that, so that's the one
That's
beside the
one
little
that
white
you
fence?
mentioned.
I've reported it. I've reported that since the last meeting, so we'll see what comes
That was
back.
one outside the house.
Yeah.
So,
They tripped on
where
it.
at?
All of Westview and Deer Stone. So the letterbox.
Okay.
Adjacent to the letterbox.
Mr Chair, can I ask, when
Yes.
an expected order is still due, or walk around the village to highlight all these problems? There used to be a walk around.
Why don't we try and couple it in with this date? Trevor's got for the
Yeah, that's
21st.
an idea.
And do you want
So,
those
so
to
the
be
parish
updated?
councillors, who are there can continue round
Yeah, with the councillors.
if they're available for the rest of the time.
I can make an appointment if
Yeah.
I come in.
21st of October, 9 o'clock. So
Riverside.
So you'll start at Riverside and then you procedural.
then proceed around. Okay.
I can't remember the fellow's name that used to do the risk assessment. It used to be a walk around the village.
Oh, Gibson, is it or something? Bill, what they call it? Bill.
Approval?
We'll try and tag it on to our site meeting.
Yeah,
Very good.
that'd be fantastic, thank you.
You can also have a look at my telegraph pole.
We will, sir. Probably be repaired by then.
That's optimistic.
I know how efficient the county council is.
Extremely efficient. Any other urgent items, Marion?
No, that's
So,
all.
anyone else got any
Dogs
urgent?
will be being on the football pitch.
Okay.
I'll report it then for dog warden.
No other urgent items? Do we have any items for the next agenda?
Lindsay's thing. Got a shelter quote, but just nothing that hasn't come up already.
Hasn't come up. Okay. Which we can do, yes.
Next agenda.
Next agenda, when we do it properly. Yeah. That's all.
Thank you, Lindsay, I'll put that one. I'll have the else as well.
And the date of our next meeting is Monday the 4th of November. In the corporate room again. We now come to part 2 of the meeting. First part, the resolution to exclude the public and press. Felton Parish Council are invited to pass a resolution in the section 1.2 of the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960 to exclude public and press due to the confidential nature of the business to be discussed, being in consideration of a report prepared by Councillors Dixon and Vaughan as to multi allotments, as the contents of the report refer to specific allotments and therefore allow identification of individual allotment holders. Can I have your agreement for this, please? Show of hands. Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to everyone else. Thank you very much.